Love you.
So we are recording a day late because Mira was convalescing yesterday from heat stroke, which you experienced out in the desert at like the peak of like the hot weather out here.
Yep, and twice, 2 days in a row. I was in the hot sun, and then I went to, not my idea, the outlet malls on Labor Day, and I got heat stroke there. Strangers were like, "Is this bitch okay?"
You were losing it that badly.
Yeah, like it's like I've got naturally low blood pressure, which is I'm told is very healthy, but it's very bad for heat and direct sunlight, and I just melt in the heat. Like I'm just like in the cold, I can walk for fucking miles and be totally fine. And then in the heat, I'm just like, I'm about to die. It got to like, you know, when you touch hot water and it feels cold for a second, I got to that point and I said, I feel cold. And then everybody was like, oh, she's going to die.
That's like the stage before like serious health collapse.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to go to the hospital or anything.
No, they got me like directly into like a really air conditioned car with a bunch of water afterwards, and I was kind of nauseated and like dizzy for like a while. But then it went away slowly, and hopefully I didn't get brain damage or something like that. But who knows?
We'll find out over the course of the next hour.
Or we won't, because all my other brain damage will just kind of like block it out.
Well,
cancel each other out.
Well, speaking of heat stroke, Burning Man just wrapped up, I think. I didn't hear anything about it. I mean, I follow it. I think I follow it on Instagram just because the pictures are always funny. But
yeah, I didn't hear about it either, really. By the way, is my dog right here.
Oh, hey.
Say hi to baby dog.
Hello, baby dog. But last year, I believe it was last year, there was the big monsoon rain that flooded and, you know, created all this havoc out at Burning Man. But this year, I think it was just hot and sunny. It was like normal desert.
Yeah, it was just like back to the normal fucking insane weather that like no one wants to be in, where it's like just dust storms constantly and fucking. My brother went once when we're both asthmatic, and he came back like just wheezing so hard. I was like, never fucking do that again. You're an idiot.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, with your low blood pressure
and my asthma
and your asthma, you're not a candidate for the Black Rock Desert.
I would be on like one of those tricycles, like a giant front wheel, like being carried to the hospital tent where they have like homeopathic remedies.
I mean, it's gotten to be such a scene that there's probably air conditioned spaces on that. I bet they figured out how to get air conditioning out there.
I mean, absolutely. They have for a long time. It's just like generators. Like that fucking festival wastes like so much energy, and it always ruins the land that it's on, which is like native land that has like very important soil and shit. It's like a fucking hell festival.
Well, I feel like it's just become this like fashion show. It's like it's just
always
like
been. It's just
I went in 1999.
And what were people wearing?
I mean, people were naked basically because you're out in the desert, but it wasn't like it feels like it's a catwalk. Like you see on Instagram, it's always like all these models out there. Like,
wait, you went to Burning Man?
Dude, I went to Burning Man in 1999.
And what was your experience like?
It was great. I thought it was awesome, but this was way before it became what it has become with like people flying in on private jets and like.
Yeah, it's such a tech bro thing now.
Yeah, it was not that. It was still, I mean, I think it was the 15th year.
Oh, wow. Early on.
Burning Man when I went. So, I mean, yeah, this is almost 30 years ago that I went to this thing. So it was a much different scene, and it was smaller. Too. There were, I want to say 23 or 24,000 people out there.
Much smaller. And
now it's like almost 100,000, right?
Yeah, more. It's like really, really huge now. It's such a like, my main memories that I've never been to Burning Man, but I grew up in Venice Beach. And when Burning Man happens, I swear to God, it's like all of the most annoying people in Venice just do like an exodus. And for like a little while, you're like, oh, like it's nice here. Like it's pretty like calm. And we have like the locals and none of these like annoying Burning Man people. Like, it's like a holiday in Venice.
Yeah. I don't know. It's complicated. I mean, I think it is cool, Burning Man, in like it's I know, and most people don't. They're just kind of annoyed by it. But like when you're out there, it's pretty extraterrestrial, and the art is really amazing, and it is like this exercise in personal freedom that I find appealing. Like you really can kind of do whatever you want out there, and I like it as a laboratory for that, but I don't like how it's become this sort of like sceney, moneyed.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly, like I'd rather go to the Met and see art, which is air conditioned, and then I could just be slutty in my personal life. And it's kind of like, you get you get the Burning Man experience without Burning Man.
I guess. But so what is going on? Oh, you know what? I before we get into like your stories for the for the bulk of the pop culture discussion, I do want to flag something that I've been noticing this week, and it has to do with Brad Pitt and George Clooney promoting their new movie that they're in together. They're like co-stars, in a movie, and so they were
I know
in.
that. What movie? Is it like
I
a
don't even.
romantic movie?
No, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the two of them are. I mean, it's in this story. We could
Called
probably
like the hot guys, like the 40-year-old hot guys.
more like 60, but
Yeah.
they're in Venice in Italy where the film festival is happening to promote it. And so they, Venice has this romance and it's like trying to kind of recreate the old glamour of Hollywood.
Yeah. I grew
Which,
up in a carnival town that was made to be a replica of it.
right. Well, but I feel like this is the thing about Hollywood is like, I feel like it's over. I feel
What is
like
it? That the film festival or just Hollywood in general?
just the whole this glamorous idea of Hollywood and movies, like I feel like it's done. I feel like it's done. And so you're trying to do that still, which I kind of get because I kind of miss when you went to the movie theater and it was cool and fun to go see a movie. But
You
I
can still
also,
go to the movie theater and see a movie. You know that, right?
I know, but not like the way that it used to be. Most people
How
are
do
just
you
watching
mean?
their phones.
In the theater. When is the last time you went to a movie theater, Brad?
Like 6 or 7 years ago. Like I
Yeah.
can't even remember the last time I went to a movie.
So, like, just so you know, it is still a movie theater, and it is kind of magical because it's a movie theater. It's the same. It hasn't changed.
When are they going to bring the ArcLight back? Like they've like, this is a
That is
Los
like the
Angeles.
tragedy of like my fucking life. That like the ArcLight closed and somebody bought the fucking set. Was it Quentin Tarantino who bought the Cinerama Dome?
I don't know.
Someone bought the Cinerama Dome, and I can't remember if they're gonna like use it privately as like private screenings or if they're gonna try to reopen it. But like losing for anyone who doesn't know, the Cinerama Dome is a dome next to the ArcLight Theater that has like a giant screen, but it like it is like U shaped because it's in a dome, and then the seating is in like a specific way so that you can see the movie from a perspective where it's all flat, and it like makes the movie like an incredible experience to see.
But it's closed. And like if we can't keep that shit open in Hollywood, like
Mm-hmm.
it isn't like I feel like the movie that's like a sign that the movies are sort of like fading into oblivion. But
I mean,
I
for theaters for sure.
what's that?
Like COVID was really hard for theaters. A lot of them closed.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
But
sad.
I feel like they're trying to make a comeback. Like, look, I'm a fan of movies, so like I hope it does come back. But like seeing Brad Pitt and George
Like
Clooney,
you feel like movies are making a comeback. Is that what you're saying?
I just think it's different now. It's just like a cheaper, stupider culture where it's like, oh yeah, we're all watching shit on our phones, and I'm I'm
Do
grumpy.
you watch like do you watch like independent movies, like not just like Barbie or Oppenheimer or whatever?
I mean, if I can stay awake at night, I don't
That's
have
the
I
issue.
don't have time. I don't know who has time to sit around watching like
That
and
sound is my dog doing like a hairball cough, by the way. I
that's
mean,
all right.
I'm unemployed personally, so
You can watch movies.
also I just love movies. Like I like watching movies, even ones that I fall asleep during or fucking weird ones. Like I think I might have like a sophomore in film school, maybe senior in film school kind of taste in movies, which is not me trying to sound cool because it is kind of lame, honestly.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like I just wanted to say that like seeing Brad Pitt and George Clooney like in each other's company and then like with all of these cameras on them,
In each other's arms in a warm embrace.
it just seems goofy. They're both so handsome. Like I have this theory that people know exactly how hot they are, and I know that beauty is in the eye of the eye of the beholder, and it's all subjective. But like we know who's hot.
Look, I look in the mirror and I see Cookie Monster, so like I don't know what's going on.
Maybe we can't judge ourselves, you
Other
know.
people we can judge for sure.
Well, actually, but this is my argument. I am saying that people can judge themselves.
Well, I think it depends on the person. Like I know hot people who are just like very aware that they're hot. They're like, I'm hot, people like me. That's it. I'm a hot person. And then I know hot people who have like no idea. And I want to be like, Jesus, you could do so much like hot people privilege shit and you're just like insecure and you don't even know it.
Maybe so. I feel like Brad Pitt and George Clooney know. How could they not know?
Men know.
The world has been telling them their entire lives, like, you're
Oh,
hot.
for sure. They like think that they're hot, like to a degree where they're like never gonna have a happy relationship.
And they, I think, like, are like, we got to be cool. But now they're 60. It's pretty hard to be cool. And I mean, I guess if you just don't give a fuck, that's cool. But
It's cool if you just like age normally. Like you could be a 60-year-old on a boat, that's fine, but just be like, I'm a 60-year-old. I'm not trying to be like a youthful fun like
yeah, I guess like, well, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I think I'm trying to say that like I felt bad for them in some way, like just because you could tell they were just like, yeah, they're just like they're kind of having to do this to promote the movie, like go through this ritual.
We're like what, like 10 minutes into the podcast, and like so far you've been like, movies are making a comeback, and I feel bad for George Clooney and Brad Pitt because they're so hot. Like, are you on drugs?
It's just got to be. And then they go out to dinner. It's just this whole thing.
Oh, they go out to dinner. Oh my God.
I don't know. I get why these people just want to like hide out on their estates and not go out. To go out in public.
If I wasn't famous and I had an estate.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the dream. But
I hide in my apartment now.
So anyway, good for them for being fabulously well-to-do and famous.
Or I feel terrible for them.
Famous handsome movie stars.
Famed handsome movie stars Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
I think they like this is like I think they might actually like privately think to themselves like, yeah, here we are, the two of us, like we're the Robert Redford and Paul Newman of our generation.
I only know, did Robert Redford kill Natalie Wood, or was that a different Robert?
No, that was Robert Wagner.
Okay, then I don't know who either of those people are.
But I mean, this is alleged. I mean, we don't know that's been like debated for
Wait,
decades.
What's alleged?
What happened to Natalie Wood? I don't think we have a firm understanding.
Well, if Christopher Walken's old ass would fucking tell us what the fuck he saw on that boat, then maybe we'd have a fucking clear understanding.
And here I wish so badly that I could do like an excellent Christopher Walken impression of
Okay,
him.
but do a bad one. Just try it.
I don't know what happened on the boat.
I was on the boat. Natalie Wood died.
And she
died on the
drowned in the water. I can't do it.
These are like genuinely the worst Christopher Walken impressions I've ever heard. They sound nothing like him.
I love people who can really do impressions. Like nothing makes me laugh harder and like more reflexively than hearing. Like there's something about it in like the humans.
Out.
I like my wife will make fun of me because I can listen to Dana Carvey do his like bits and it just makes me laugh so hard because when somebody can actually like sound just like somebody, that's such a fucking weird talent. You know?
Yeah. I can do it with family members really well. Like I can really make like a Thanksgiving table like crack the fuck up with like an impression of like my dad or grandpa or mom. Like that I've been honing for a long time.
But do you sound like them? Do you sound like
because my mom and I sound alike. And so like if I talk like my mom, like everybody, it's just like exactly right. And like none of my other siblings sound quite as much like my mom. So it's an easy impression for me to do.
Yeah. But like some people just have like some weird gift where they can like hear it and recreate. It's like
my friend Alex is like that. He'll just like do an impression. I'm like, Alex, have you been practicing that in the mirror? Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, I used to work with a guy. He's kind of like this tech nerd. He was a real sweet guy. He's young, but he had that gift and he could do an Australian accent like perfectly to the point where he would go out and like for fun, he would like pretend to be Australian when he was out.
That's so funny. I would totally do that.
He would meet Australians and they would think that he was from Australia. Like he could fool anybody.
Wow. That's impressive. Like fooling Americans one thing, but fooling an actual Australian, that's really impressive.
Yeah, it was super funny. It was super funny when he like went into that mode. So anyway, I'm glad that Brad and George are friends and hanging out and making
Brad
movies.
Hopes you're okay. As one Brad to another Brad, he hopes you're okay.
It's just I just feel bad. It's like you become caricatured, I think, in the culture as like handsome leading men, and then the two of you are together, and it's like
Isn't
this
that the price
combined.
you pay for being one of the hottest men in the world? It's like, okay, I'm like the hottest man in the world, but like, I don't know, I have to go on a boat sometimes. Like, it doesn't seem like that bad of a payment.
No, listen, nobody's going to be playing violins for these guys, but it is sort of goofy.
Yeah, it's goofy. It's really goofy.
It's goofy when they hang out together. It's maybe a lot less goofy when they're just like on their own. But like when you put the two of them together and like there's
Yeah,
all these people taking their picture, it's just
goofy when Brad Pitt's with like a super hot, like 20-year-old model or something. Like, that's kind of goofy.
well, he's dating a much younger woman, of course.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's like Taylor Swift said, I'll get older, but your lovers will stay my age.
Right. So what else is going on, Mira? What's happening
Well,
in the
our
popular
next story,
culture?
our next story is, I would say, not as it features like the two scariest women alive, I think, in my personal opinion, which are Anna Wintour and Naomi Campbell.
Uh-oh.
So Anna Wintour, Brad, you may not know. I don't know if you're a big fan of Anna Wintour or not.
I actually watched a documentary on her called The September Issue. I've
Yeah,
seen that. Yeah.
that's a great movie. I highly recommend it. Love that movie. It shows Anna Wintour in a way that, like, I think that probably even she was upset with. Like, seeing her just without her sunglasses, she was probably pissed. So Anna Wintour famously is very punctual and gets very upset when people are not punctual. Like, doesn't matter how famous they are. Like, they need to be like 10 minutes early or they're late.
That's how I am.
Yeah, she's like that. You're basically the Anna Wintour of podcasts.
Yeah. I'm always a little bit early.
You know, and you know what? I'm gonna just to respect Anna Wintour. Okay, there we go.
Uh-huh.
So Anna Wintour, editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine, although I think she stepped down recently, but whatever. It's New York Fashion Week, or it was recently, and there was a show called Fashion Rose Fashion Show and Style Awards, which sounds like a fake thing. I don't know what. There's so many names. Like, that's.
As a writer, I'm offended by how like cumbersome that is.
I like want to edit it. I'm like, okay, let's take out like a couple of words, like maybe not fashion twice.
That sounds like something out of Zoolander.
Yeah, right, exactly. It sounds like the competition where they have to take their pants off, like, or take their underwear out off with their pants on.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday night, she was presenting, I guess, this show. And she took a little dig at Naomi Campbell, who I guess was not just late this time, but is like chronically late to this show and other shows. Like, it's just late all the time. So like, and she's such a successful model that it's like one of the few people Anna Wintour can't just be like, fuck her, she's out, ruin her career. And so I think she's just like sitting there pissed that Naomi Campbell is always late to things and like can't do much about it.
See, but here's where I'm going to be a contrarian. I actually like Naomi Campbell for like fucking with Anna Wintour a little bit and like just showing up late and pissing her off. I like that.
I also like it and think it's funny, and I'm on the same, but I think Naomi Campbell was kind of heavily involved in the Epstein Ghislaine Maxwell thing in a way I don't fully understand, but people like really hate her for it.
Yeah, she's like pretty chaotic. I don't know much about her, but I feel like whenever I feel like on a semi-regular basis, I'm reading about some crazy shit she's done. Like she gets into a slap fight at a restaurant or whatever
she got
it is.
into a physical fight recently, didn't she? I read that too.
Something like that. I don't know.
She once famously threw her phone at her maid's head and like caused her like serious damage that like Naomi Campbell had to pay for. Like, she is a strange, difficult, terrifying woman. But so is Anna Wintour, and I like that she's like giving Anna a run for her money.
Yeah, exactly. I like. I mean, I'm gonna say that I support this conflict.
I agree. I think it's like especially funny to upset Anna Wintour in a way that like she can't do anything to Naomi Campbell, so she has to do what she did, which is just make like a little dig in a speech. And when she does that, of course, it's like, you know, reported everywhere. She rarely does. She said, "I am a very punctual person, and I have the honor of presenting tonight to someone who is often late," she said, and then presented an award to Naomi Campbell.
Is Anna Wintour? She's not a nice person. I mean, is she as bad as like the caricature of her?
100%. Apparently, Anna Wintour was so annoyed that she left immediately after her speech wrapped. I met Anna Wintour once. We have a rule that we have to say when a celebrity is mentioned that we've met in Los Angeles. I was for reasons even I don't understand, was like +1 to her like it was like a private fashion show for like up and coming designers that she does every year at the Chateau Marmont. And I like was dressed in like my friend's designer clothes because I like don't have any. So it was probably like 3 seasons ago or whatever. And I probably didn't fit me right. And I probably like, and like she, like my friend was like, oh, hi. And like, you know, shook her hand. And then I swear to God, Anna Wintour, like, I was like, hi, nice to meet you. And I like put my hand out like that. And Anna Wintour goes and walks away.
Because of your outfit.
I assume so.
Oh my God.
Fuck yeah. Her. Then like my hand out like this, just kind of just, and like leaves. I was kind of like, okay, for all the experiences I could have meeting Anna Wintour, that's kind of the one that I want.
Yeah. Right. That's who she is. I mean, that's like sort of like the Meryl Streep like version of her.
It is apparently an incredibly accurate portrayal. Like a lot of that shit is just exactly how Anna Wintour is.
And like we should, I mean, I'll defend like powerful women acting like powerful men often behave, right? She's just like sort of a...
Not me. That's not my feminism.
Okay. But I mean, like I just feel like maybe she gets shit on more than guys who do like that.
100% she does. Yeah. Like I think there's probably like so many men who just act that way all the time and don't ever, like no one ever says anything.
Right. It's like, but that's what I mean. It's like she's sort of like unique in that way, and that she's a woman in this position of power, and she sort of flexes and is
right. She like won't capitulate. She's like, I'm not going to smile at you if I don't like you. Like I'm not going to shake your hand if I don't want to. The way that like a terrible male CEO would and not get shit for it.
See, I remember I have this theory that everybody, if you actually spend time with them, probably most everybody's got some sort of redeeming quality. I bet.
She's a good mother, apparently.
Yeah. I think like, I don't know.
Like she loves her daughter. Like she will like cancel like big events to just like hang out with her daughter. Like she's like a genuinely good mom.
I want to hang out with her.
Same. I want to hang out with her, and what I want to do is give her an edible so strong that she no longer has control over like the Anna Wintour, because you know, like she's never doing drugs to the point where like she's having fun, because that means that she kind of is letting go of like control over herself, and like she would just never do that. But right. I want to make her do that.
I want her to just have to hang out with me in my t-shirt and just, I mean, just like somebody who has absolutely no interest in like high fashion. She would probably find me just like a complete zero, right?
Or she'd look at you and be like, maybe this is the next fashion thing. Maybe it's like, you know, we're going low effort fashion this spring.
That's right. Maybe I am I'm on the crest of the wave. Maybe I'm setting a new trend. I've never understood how this shit works. I don't like the idea that this woman has all of this outsized power to like create these fashion trends. In Vogue magazine, I feel like there's always all these outfits on the catwalk that nobody ever actually wears, and yet everyone's
okay. Well, allow me to explain. There's a very fundamental, maybe like aspect of Fashion Week that you might be missing, which is that like there's ready to wear clothes, which is like the clothes that you get at the Louis Vuitton store or whatever, and then there's runway dresses, which are only on the runway, not sold in normal stores, and like they would only ever be used for like a celebrity on the red carpet. Or for nothing. So it's basically like just an art show for designers, not meant to be sold even.
Yeah, I guess I sort of knew that. I just find it like I find the whole world of it a little bit repellent. It just seems like
I find the whole world in general a little bit repellent. So I do understand.
But I don't want to, like the thing too is I don't want to, I mean, it's just not my thing. If it is if like fashion is your thing, I do think it's art. And I think that, you know, people like clothes. They like to look cool. And
I mean, you know, the fashion industry is deeply toxic, but also I watch every award show just for the red carpet because, like, I love dresses and their construction and fashion and all that stuff, you know. But it's like a hard balance because it's also really toxic and also very, like, bad for women's bodies often and all of this shit. So it's like you got to keep, like, a balance there, a distance maybe.
I feel like most women love dresses and fashion.
That is that's a statement people have been saying for hundreds of years. That is true. I mean, I think it's like women don't have a choice really, right? It's like either I'm going to wear jeans and a t-shirt all the time and then I'm going to be a plain woman according to everyone who looks at me, or you're going to have some kind of sense of, even when you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt, it's like the scene in Devil Wears Prada where she's like you think you just picked out that lumpy sweater out of nowhere, just like fell out of a coconut tree. Actually, like it's cerulean, which came from like Chanel 1985 and then went into belts and whatever the fuck, like that kind of thing. That was the best part of Devil Wears Prada to me, because it showed that like as a woman and as a man, everyone is making fashion choices. Nobody is not making choices.
That's
Everybody
right.
is. And
Yeah,
like that's interesting to me.
Yeah, like not caring, or quote unquote not caring, is a choice.
Doesn't exist. It's like you do care about what's comfortable, or about like, you know, whether your sweatshirt is black. It's everybody does.
I just don't have the time or the money to go out and like really hunt for the clothes that would best suit me.
Right.
I often think that if I had like endless money, I would hire somebody to just do it for me.
Brad, just take me to a mall with you and I will tell you what to wear. I'm so good at dressing men. I dressed all the men. I dress my stepdad. Like I dress all the men in my life and they all look great.
Really?
So you just let me know. I
want somebody. I want somebody to come to my house with like options and just
give me a budget and your measurements. I'll do it.
Jesus Christ! I got to make some money.
Being a personal shopper for an eccentric rich person is like secretly the job I wish I had.
I feel like there's somebody out there who would hire you.
See, if anyone's listening who wants to hire me, like I come from a long line of very fashionable women. I've got credentials. I know how to sew. I know how to find weird shit. I mean, I would be a great personal shopper.
All right. You heard it here first.
You know, just advertising myself.
So what else is happening out there?
Well, our next story is about somebody who Anna Wintour would certainly like shame into near suicide, I have to imagine, which is horrific. But it is somebody from, let's see, I'm not just looking at my phone, I'm looking at a story. 1,000 Pound Sisters, which I guess is like a reality show, like on fucking that network where they do that. I used to watch My 600 Pound Life, which was really dark and I assume similar.
So wait, these are actual sisters who weigh 1,000 pounds?
Well, so I guess they did, but like I'm looking at pictures of this one sister that the story is about. They both were sisters who weighed 1,000 pounds, but it seems like she for sure doesn't weigh 1,000 pounds anymore.
It feels exploitative, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And by the way, can human beings really weigh 1,000 pounds?
I mean, I think these sisters are proof of it. They weighed 1,000 pounds. They're probably
or maybe it was like combined. They were 1,000 pounds. You can't be 1,000 pounds.
Like, you? I guess it must have been combined. Let's see, 1,000 pound sisters, because it does seem like a fucking lot for a person to weigh. That doesn't
There's no way. There's no way.
Oh, they're really fucking big. Holy shit! So combined, they're over 1,000 pounds.
Okay, I get that.
So they're like 600 to 700 pounds each.
Jesus.
But looking at pictures, for sure, this sister has lost weight. And she is so... The story we're covering is one I didn't even know until Brad sent it to me. And now I'm like, what the fuck? Her name is Amy Slayton. And I guess she said that a good chunk of her skin is missing from what she says is a camel bite.
Oh my God.
They obtained a photo of her flesh wound, which Brad looked at and was like, oh, this is disgusting. And I was like, where is it? I want to see it. And
it's gross.
It's really gross. So she said that it was a camel bite. She was at the zoo, I guess, in some kind of like safari type of thing that the zoo had, I guess, where the camels like had.
Well, no, it's a safari park. It's like a little bit more. It's more of like a kind of earthier zoo.
It's like maybe. Open, like animals like wandering around, I guess. Okay, so she gets bitten by a camel. She gets taken out of the zoo in a stretcher.
And she got bit on her arm.
She got bit on her arm. I mean, it's just very clear that she did not need a stretcher for like her arm wound was bad, but like.
Maybe she passed out, dude. If I got bit by a camel and my arm opened up like that, I'd probably lie down.
It was pretty bad. You could see like the fat under her skin and stuff. It was gross. So maybe she passed out. But it's not even the whole story. So the zoo owner says it's not a camel bite. She's fully lying. So we don't know what exactly happened. But after this, somehow she ended up getting arrested because police found psychedelic mushrooms and marijuana and 2 children in her car.
Her kids were just sitting in the car?
Yeah, 2 kids in her car. She's at a zoo. Why are her kids in the car?
It's summer. It's warm. I mean, it's like at the end of summer, but it's still hot. You can't leave kids in your car.
What the fuck?
And by the way, you think she's shrooming at this
I mean, I
safari
would.
park?
That sounds
Right.
fun.
So she's probably high as shit, and she
Yeah.
got bit by a camel. That would fuck you up, I think, if you were.
Yeah. Oh my God. That would be so fucking scary if you were just like tripping balls and then you could see like your fucking arm like falling apart because a camel bit it. Dude, and like a
Like,
camel of all things? Like, I didn't know they fucking bit. Like, what the fuck?
well, look, I think that's the reason it unsettles me is that like these animals, they kind of look sort of docile and slow and sort of dim-witted, but then
Dude, I
they've
don't
got
trust
those
them.
teeth. I don't either.
I don't fucking trust them. I don't want to touch them. I recently met a goat who was really elderly and I pet him and sat next to him. And that is like, that's the most I'll do. I don't like, oh, like the animal's docile, oh, whatever. Like, okay, a cow, fine. Camel, absolutely not. I don't want it to be anywhere near that shit.
No, I mean, there's. I remember reading a story. It stayed with me. I still remember it about a llama and how a llama like attacked and like badly wounded its owner or somebody who came near it because I think it was a male llama who felt threatened. And
Whoa.
they have like I think they have like really sharp teeth.
Right. They're like big teeth. They're like intense.
Yeah, and they when they come after you like in that way, they go after your groin like instinctively. They try to like because it's a I think they felt like threatened.
They're
They're
not even meat eating animals. They're not going after you for food. They're like going after you for territory.
It's something like this, but I'm like I would nothing would terrify me more than a llama coming at me.
My feeling is like, I love animals. I think they're like really neat. I have like very much enjoyed going to like the can't remember what it's called, but there's like a wildlife rescue center where they have really cool shit there. I pet a sloth there one time. My feeling about wild animals is that I respect them. I respect that they live in a place that is not anything that I know about. I respect that they don't want me near them. And like, that's cool. We're in our own little thing. I don't want to be near you, touching you in your space, and like, you don't have to get in mine. That's it. I
Yeah,
respect their thing.
yeah.
I don't want to touch them. I don't want to be involved. They don't want me near them. It's fine.
Just leave them the fuck alone.
Just leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah.
And like, I pet this sloth. I loved it. I cried. Sloths are my favorite animal. It was incredible. But it was like an elderly sloth. It was just fucking sitting there. Like, what? It's not like being in like a fucking safari park and touching a camel. Like, I don't want that shit. And like, what's a sloth going to do to me? It's smaller than me. That's different.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they sloths have those long claws, right? I
Yeah,
guess
but
they
they
could
go like, it's like they can't do shit.
just like
In
slow.
Apple, it was like,
If you were high enough, Mira, if you had enough of an edible in you, and the sloth came at you in slow motion, you might be moving so slowly that you could not get out of the way.
let me tell you, Brad, I was high on like 200 milligrams of THC. Like I was on another fucking planet. I was too far from Earth to even consider the idea that a sloth could possibly hurt me. I was just like, this looks like a Muppet, but it's a real animal. And like just tears streaming down my eye face, like oh my god, I'm feeding it an apple and it's taking in its little claws. Like,
Oh my god! I don't think I've never like
you should
held.
consider taking your kids to this place because they do like little like animal experiences where like you don't get to touch every animal, but they'll take you like closer to like the special monkeys or whatever and tell you all about them, and you get like a special like you get to see the giraffes and all that. It's fun
All right. I kind
and
of
it's
get to. I
safe.
feel like the zoos are sort of depressing, but you know,
That's why I go to the wildlife rescue center. They get like animals who are like were
damaged.
exotic pets and were like being taken care of terribly, and then they like put them in a nice area and take care
Like
of them.
like Mike Tyson's like old pet tiger is there and
Yeah,
shit. Yeah.
exactly. Except they don't have a tiger. That would be really cool though. Yeah.
So I hope that this like Amy Slayton, the 1,000 pound sister, I hope she's okay. I kind of want to know more. You know,
I
like this
mean,
is one of those stories where I need
yeah.
more details. I want to know if she was high when this happened.
I mean, I've got like a lot of questions for sure, but like looking, and I'm no expert, looking at the wound, it really doesn't look like a camel bite. Like, I don't know exactly what a camel bite looks like, but the wound, it's like, like this maybe like an inch or two long, and then like the skin is peeled off like that.
So what would it be if it's not a camel bite? I mean, by the way, how do we know what a camel bite even looks like anyway?
We don't. So this is just me like totally conjecturing, but like
But there's not like teeth marks. Like you
there's
don't
no
see
teeth
it.
marks. It's like
Yeah.
a clean like cut. It almost looks like somebody just literally cut the skin and then peeled it.
Well, but this is the thing. I feel like llamas and camels are maybe from like the same like general
Mm,
like, and they might have like razor sharp teeth. Why do I want to
I
say
would believe
llamas?
it.
Yeah. So maybe it just like sliced her.
Maybe, yeah. Like, God, I don't know. Maybe she was too high and got too close to it or something. But like the person who owns the zoo is adamant that it is not a bite wound, and nobody saw her get bit by a camel. But it was
Well,
reported to the police as a camel bite, so everyone's referring to it like that.
maybe Amy Slayton wants to sue this safari park. She's going to file a lawsuit.
Like, yeah, I mean, whatever. Get your money, girl. I guess.
Take care of your fucking kids. Don't leave your kids in the car.
Yeah, dude. That part, like, they really just mentioned that just offhand. Like, oh, there was a bunch of drugs and 2 kids in the car. That seems like the main thing to me. Like,
Yeah.
I've got all kinds of drugs in my car all the time, probably, but not kids.
Yeah. Like just like leave your kids in the car with a bag of weed and some
Yeah.
mushrooms. That's
Wait
it.
for the cops to show up.
Go inside the safari park. Was she by herself? Maybe she was really tripping. Like, who knows?
Why would you go to a zoo with children and then not let the children go into the zoo? That's like it's like going to Disneyland and be like, wait in the car, kids.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is maybe the most mysterious story we've ever covered. Like it's really strange.
I'm gonna be following this because it's weird. Like maybe she just like went in the bathroom and like cut herself and was like, oh, I got injured, like trying to get money. Like, because they made a good point in the article. There's no bruising. There's nothing outside of the cut at all. There's no marks. There's no anything. It's really like a clean cut on her arm.
I feel like you could write a novel about this. Like honestly, if you just
Like
started here,
the camel bite, like
just like about a you know, kind of like backwoods reality TV star, the whole thing, the whole setup, and like what happened. It could become
be
like
a great like Fargo like movie involving like different scams and like people at the zoo and stuff, like, or like a documentary if they've got like weird enough personalities.
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll learn more.
Yeah, I'll keep it updated the way that you do with Hawktua, which we will discuss later in the show.
Yeah, well, but before we get to Hawktua, I have a question. I flagged this story, and it's about how Megan Thee Stallion, who I know who Megan Thee Stallion is. I like some, of her, like
Can
some
you
of
name
her.
one of her songs?
Does she sing? What is that song? God damn it!
You got it, Brad.
Ratchet, nasty,
Yeah,
bougie.
yeah. Ratchet, nasty, bougie, ratchet. Yeah,
I like that song.
got it. And
I
she's
like that song.
that one where he goes body yaddy 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 yaddy.
Maybe I don't know. I like the one where she's like ratchet.
And she's
Nasty,
like, it's
bougie.
little waist. That's a great song. She's got
What's
a lot
happening?
of great songs.
What's happening?
So, okay, so the deal here, do you know anything about the Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion beef?
No. Okay, so first things first. We've been seeing stories about this with Kendrick Lamar, I know, and Drake.
That was hilarious and insane.
This term, I object, like right off the bat, I object to the word beef. Like we're
It's been
beefing.
being used for a really long time.
Get a better word. I don't like it. It makes me feel grossed out. I don't want to beef with anyone. I don't want to hear about people beefing
What
with
is
each other.
the etymology of beefing?
Yeah, exactly. You have a beef. Like you have a beef with somebody means you have a problem with somebody.
But like, how did the word beef start being used for that?
Exactly. Like we need to cancel this word. It's just not right.
Wait, here we go. The word beefing is derived from the verb beef. And the earliest known noun use of beefing was in the 1899 Daily Picayune in New Orleans.
Like the Picayune, that's the paper in New Orleans.
Picayune, is that what it is?
I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, it might still be the paper in New Orleans.
I can't, nothing is saying why. They have the earliest use of it. And nothing is saying like why the fuck it's the word beef. It is kind of gross though, right? It's kind of like what, like beef, like, yeah, we have like, I don't know, fish with each other or like pork.
What the fuck? And by the way, I should say that as a person who has Louisiana roots, it doesn't surprise me necessarily that the origin of this usage, is to be found in Louisiana.
Do you have Louisiana roots?
Yeah, my entire family, both my parents.
I thought Indiana.
No, that's where I was raised. But both my whole extended family is South Louisiana. Like,
this is a side note, but I did my 23andMe recently. I am 6% Native American.
Which
So I'm native to the Mariana Islands, which is a U.S. territory that includes Guam, but I'm not from Guam. I'm from like the southern part of the Mariana Islands where people from Mexico immigrated. And because it's like, but I'm like an indigenous person to like that area when it was not the United States, and now it is, which means that I'm technically, I guess, Native American.
what is has that changed your sense of yourself? Like, are you
Oh
gonna
yeah,
start?
completely. I'm like, oh, like my fucking relatives are fucking slutty as hell. I'm like all over the place. I have like some Arab. I'm like 26.1% Ashkenazi Jew, which basically doesn't make sense. Like, I'm all over the place.
You really are. I mean, but I kind of am too. And like, I'm scared to do 23andMe because I feel like the government is going to have my DNA or something. I don't
Have
know.
any of your family members done it?
I don't know. Maybe my parents. I have no idea.
If even one has done it, then they've got all your shit and you're fucked.
Fuck.
And like they will use it to give to police departments to rat out like future relatives who do crimes.
Great. Glad we got that sorted out.
But then my mom and sister and brother all did it, so I was like, all right, well, I'm fucked anyways. But well, I was trying to connect this to Nicki Minaj, but I don't think she's from anywhere near Guam.
Why are they beefing?
Oh, she's from Queens. What am I saying? So you don't know why they're beefing at all?
No. And apparently Megan Thee Stallion doesn't know why either. She's saying, I don't have no idea why I'm beefing with Nicki Minaj.
Which is really fucking funny because like it was a whole fucking massive thing. Like, I feel like she's lying, but okay. So like, how do I explain this from the very beginning? Let's see. So things turned sour. So like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj have always had like a really intense beef. I think Nicki Minaj said something bad about Cardi B. I don't know, but like Cardi B once like threw a shoe at Nicki Minaj at an event, and like they like almost got in like a physical altercation. Like, it's really bad. So Megan Thee Stallion did a song with Cardi B a while ago, and that kind of ignited the issues with Nicki Minaj. Now, I do feel like I should mention beefs between pop stars and artists are truly often record label synergy. Like, you will often see the people who are beefing, just like Drake and Kendrick Lamar, are on different like imprints of the same label. They'll be on like different like labels under Atlantic. And it's like almost always the case. I don't know if it's the case with Nicki and Megan.
Well, I was just going to say, this smells like a conspiracy to me. It feels like a business strategy.
It's not even, it's a business strategy. It's like not even a conspiracy. It's just something that happens all the time.
But they are conspiring to create the false impression that they are beefing, just because this is the thing. This is how fucked up the culture we're in is.
This one seems pretty intense, actually, but
the only way to cut through the noise is it's been proven that a beef, like a public fight between two celebrities, is enough to like arrest a news cycle. And so people will do it just to get like their name out there.
100%. Like, it's like people will do it when a new album's coming out to try to get more. I mean, I think of like the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef and how they literally like had a beef that everybody knew about, but waited to come out with the songs that were like specifically targeting each other until after Taylor Swift's new album cycle was done. Right. Which is weird to me. But Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj seems like it might be kind of personal because, okay, so back like a couple years ago, Megan Thee Stallion was dating this guy named Tory Lanez. Have you heard of him?
No, I have no idea who that is.
I barely do either. I only know him because he dated Megan Thee Stallion. But he like was such a piece of shit that he had a gun, shot at her feet, and was like, dance to Megan Thee Stallion, an abusive, horrible man. Her.
He actually shot at the ground?
And he shot her in the foot, like right in the foot. She got shot. She couldn't walk for a long time. Like, it was like serious. He's in jail now. Like, seriously, a fucking crazy thing.
What are you doing hanging out with this guy?
Exactly. And so, and she doesn't anymore. She pressed charges really hard, and now he's in prison, so good for her. But Nicki Minaj is still friends with him. And I think it should be noted, like, Nicki Minaj is not a good person. She is married to a serial sex offender of underage women, literally. Like, on, I don't even know his fucking name. He's like not even that famous, but he is like literally on like Megan's registry or whatever, Megan's Law.
Oh,
like, You can look him up and it'll be like Nicki Minaj's house, like can't live near a school, like fucking insane. So, okay, so Nicki Minaj is a bad person. Megan Thee Stallion seems kind of cool. So she did a song with Cardi B, which just made Nicki hate her, like just pissed. So Nicki responded to that song, which didn't mention Nicki at all, and called Megan Bigfoot, referring to getting shot in the foot.
Whoa.
Insanely fucked up. Like, insanely fucked up. And then Megan, she responded in another diss track where she said, you need to worry less about Megan Thee Stallion and worry more about Megan's Law. Which, like, really fucking got her ass with that one. That was like...
Dude.
And so Nicki, like, went insane, was, like, furious, was on Instagram Live for, like, 3 hours every night, like, high on cocaine, tweeting nonstop, like, just being fucking psychotic, like, basically, like, getting the whole world on Megan's side because she was such a psychopath about it. And she started it to begin with. Okay, so now Megan Thee Stallion is on the cover of... What is it? She's on the cover of Billboard. And in her interview with Billboard, she says that she doesn't know why she has beef with Nicki Minaj. She said she has no idea. Like, she said, I still to this day don't know what the problem is. I don't even know what could be reconciled because I to this day truly do not know what the problem is.
I think these people need to grow the fuck up. I mean, you're a grown adult and you're making diss tracks. Like, there was a funny tweet when the whole Kendrick Lamar Drake thing was circulating.
That was like, I had so many opinions about that when that happened.
Well, right. Well, I mean, like, I don't understand it that well, but I couldn't help but see on Twitter that there was like a 24-hour period where like Kendrick Lamar just unleashed a series of quote unquote diss tracks.
And it got like the stakes went higher and higher. It was fucking insane.
And somebody on Twitter was like, the reason I like beefing is because it essentially has like grown men writing mean poems to one another, which is what it is. It's so juvenile.
They're writing mean poems about each other. I mean, it's the kind of thing where like girls will do that, and we all have kind of an understanding that like it's a little gay. Like if you hate a girl so much that you are focused on her intently like that, it's like a little blatantly homosexual. Like it just is. And Kendrick and Drake would never ever admit that.
Maybe so, yeah. Maybe I mean,
I don't think either of them are homosexuals, but like it is like you're writing a poem for another man that you feel something about.
I mean, listen, we all have conflict in our lives with people, but like, I cannot imagine.
I mean, that beef was insane because like it started out normal, where it started out with Kendrick, like you were in Degrassi, you know, you were in a fucking wheelchair in Degrassi, you were raised rich, you're Canadian, fuck you, whatever, normal shit. And then Drake being like, Kendrick, you're short. And as soon as Drake was like, Kendrick, you're short, like, you know, you're 5 feet tall or whatever, Kendrick came back and was basically wrote a song that was a letter to Drake's mother saying, I'm sorry your son is a pedophile.
Oh, God.
Just up the stakes like so high. He was like, Kendrick, you're short. And he was like, really? I'm going to tell your mother that you fuck kids. Like, what the fuck? Like, holy shit.
1 second.
Brad's elderly and dying.
I've had a cold for like 3 weeks.
Oh, God.
It's the worst. I'll cut this out.
Don't cut it out.
It's like so annoyed.
Carrie
has it too.
God, not COVID though, right?
No, River had it. I got it. Carrie got it. Carrie had to go to the doctor yesterday because the cold had spread into an ear infection. I mean, it's like truly like I usually like process things and like, you know, I get sick, but like not like this, not like 4 weeks on end. But
that's awful. That's exactly what COVID was like for me. Like Tyler also got an ear infection. I like my ears were all fucked up for like so long, just a total nightmare.
Yeah. Well, where were we? Like,
so right, the Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion beef. So like Megan Thee Stallion wrote this like incredibly cutting line in response to like Nicki just being like a cunt, like just like fucking being like, oh, Bigfoot, like she was shot in the foot by her abusive boyfriend, and she's making fun of her in the song.
Does she have big feet?
Maybe, I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah, I want to know how. I mean, not to be weird, but
I mean, if her
now I want to know. I want to know how big.
10, then Nicki's right. And if she's a size 10, Nicki's in the right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she's got gigantic feet. You know, I don't know.
I've kind of got gigantic feet.
What size shoe do you wear?
I'm like a 9.5, so it's not like that gigantic, but for foot fetishists, it's like just the right size.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
And I've got toes I won't show on the podcast because it'll gross you out, and it's, a bad financial decision to show feet for free, but I can grab things with my toes like a monkey in like a really insane way.
See, that's gross. But I'm grossed out by feet. I don't need any feet.
Honestly, same. I don't love them, but you know what? Men who are foot fetishists, if you'd like to hit me up, no judgment from me, and I will sell you photos of my feet. So
I'll judge.
Brad will judge, but I won't.
You're obsessed with people's feet, like this whole wiki feet thing. I'm just like, who is at home? What I want to know is how it happens. Like, how does somebody like get into feet?
I mean, it's a really good question. I don't know what like the common denominator is. I think it might be like a sort of like worship thing, like being like, like people like to go to like dominatrixes or whatever, like a lower level version of that, where it's like, I'm gonna like worship your disgusting smelly feet because like I'm so like not in charge here or something like that.
Maybe.
I never understood it. I was once sitting in a cafe. This is how much like my foot fetishes love my feet. I was once sitting in a cafe with sandals on, and this guy was like kind of looking at me, and I was like, all right, weird. And then he like comes up to me, he grabs my foot in the sandal, and he says, "You have beautiful arches." And I just like kicked my foot, and he ran away.
Fucking weirdo.
Fucking weirdo. Like touching my foot, you have beautiful arches?
Yeah. No thanks.
No fucking thank you. That's going to be a no from me.
But there's not, the thing is that it's men. It's not
always men.
It's not women who are like fetishizing men's feet, right?
Right. It's weird. I mean, I guess like, women's feet tend to be like nicer than men's feet. Like,
because women get pedicures. We've talked about this.
Mm-hmm. We like this podcast is very concerned with having feet that are not disgusting. That is like our main political platform.
It's my life's mission is just to make sure that we raise the standard for how people care for their feet.
Exactly. For me, it's like, men, cut your nails, wash your feet, wear sunscreen. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
It's not that fucking hard.
Get it together.
I mean, if your feet smell, that's not normal. That's not normal. You need to shower more and wash your feet more. That's not just something that happens.
But it is men. It's men who obsess about feet and are they eroticize feet. It's like
fetishes in general are largely men. Like there's like not many, like girls will have like, I don't know, wanting to be like the not dominant one or something like that. Like, or like they like a tall guy or they like a short guy or like a bald guy or they like a hairy guy or whatever. But it's never like something like specific and bizarre and intense like feet. Right? Like I can't think of anything.
Men need to get it together. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Honestly, like, I'm not married to a foot fetishist, but he's often like, it's a shame that I'm not, because you've got like the perfect feet for somebody who does have a foot fetish.
I mean, I will say this. Like, I do notice when somebody has nice feet.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody's wearing sandals, because I mean, just for the reasons we've been describing, like if somebody takes care of their feet, it's like, oh, lovely.
It's different than usual, because usually people's feet are kind of just like either like fine, you don't want to look at them, or they're gross.
Or I notice when they're gross too. I'm
like,
ugh.
I always notice. Like I can't fucking stand it. It's disgusting. And like I guess I do notice when someone has like a nice pedicure, just because I like nails and stuff like that. So I guess that does kind of make sense. Like,
but I'm not like putting pictures up on my wall of like,
or like thinking about them in a sexual way at all. It's just like, you'd be like, someone has nice hands. Like it's just the same thing. Yeah. So that's been our feet talk for this episode. That will be a continuous thing that we do, where we discuss how angry we are at everybody's foot hygiene.
Did I ever tell you my podiatrist story?
No.
How I have like a bad back, like a bad low back. I've had it since I was in high school. And I went to this doctor. It was like a sports medicine type thing to try to get an evaluation done.
Like on why your back was hurting?
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he did this whole examination, and he asked me if I had ever worn orthotics in my shoes. And I was like, yeah, I did in high school. And it kind of helped. But then I stopped in college because I went to this hippie doctor in Boulder who was like, you should be natural. Like, don't wear orthotics. Like, all this shit. Yeah. So this guy's like, yeah, I just measured your legs, and they're like, one of your legs is like a quarter of an inch longer than the other one.
I've always suspected that I have that. For my whole fucking life, I've suspected that one leg is longer.
Yeah, so he's like, go to this podiatrist. I think I've actually told this story long time ago on my podcast, but he's like, go to a podiatrist and get orthotics, and you'll have one of them like sort of crafted to be like to correct this difference, because it was affecting my
your lateral pelvic tilt.
Correct. So I go to this podiatrist on a referral. Like this sports medicine guy refers me to a podiatrist in Beverly Hills.
Wow.
Which it sounds fancy, but like a lot of doctors are in
There's
Beverly Hills.
There's a lot of doctors in Beverly Hills. Yeah. They just have like whole complexes.
If you live in LA, that's where the doctors are. So
some of them are fancy, but not all of them.
So I go to this podiatrist's office, and when I walk into the little lobby, it's empty. And there's like an obsidian, if I'm remembering this right, it was like a obsidian coffee table made out of like.
Oh yeah, you're in the real rich people doctor's office. It doesn't look like a doctor's office in the waiting room.
but also then on the wall there were these like photos of like iridescent underwater oceanic scenes. It was kind of weird, it was like porpoises and shit and like
porpoises.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know that kind of artwork where it's like that.
I grew up in Venice. I totally get it.
And so then there's like that little booth window, the check-in window for the doctor, and there's nobody there, and I'm sort of like, it's like anybody in this fucking place. And then eventually this woman comes to the window, and she's got like, it's just, there's just something like with the big nails and the big hair and the makeup and like,
she's doing this clicky clacky thing. Like, what's your name?
Yeah. Like that kind of thing. And I was like, gave her my name. I checked in, and she's like, okay, come right back here. The doctor will see you. I'm the only person there. And long story short, this guy, they have to make molds of your feet. And this guy comes in, he's like 6'2", blonde, receding hair, and athletic. Nice and
attractiveness level.
What's that?
1 to 10 on attractiveness level. Like if it's like a 10 for most attractive, 1 for least attractive.
He was like a 5. He was like, but he was like doing the mold of my feet and talking to me. And he was there's a little bit of a weird energy coming off of him.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite place it, but I was like, all right, this whole scene is weird, but I'm just getting my fucking orthotics. I'm going to get out of here. And so I do it, and I get the orthotics. They mail them to me, and it's like, my back improves. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get a bill. You know how you get the bill for the deductible, or what is it called? The copay for your. I get that in the mail, and I owe like $50 or whatever to this doctor. And I get the envelope out of the mail, and I put it on my desk, and it sort of gets like buried under the pile, and I forget about it.
Yeah, I swear I've not paid medical bills for that reason.
Yeah. So like a month goes by or whatever it is, and I suddenly remember that I owe this fucking guy. And then I'm start looking.
Now it's $500.
No, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, like I forgot to pay the copay. So I'm looking through my pile of papers, and I can't find it. But I remember this doctor's name, and so I Google him. Because I wanted to get his address so I could send the fucking check.
I'm so scared.
Turns out, I Google him. The first thing that comes up is that he's been convicted as a level 1 sex offender in the state of Florida for like getting together with like a 12-year-old girl.
But you saw him in California.
Yeah.
Dude.
He's practicing medicine in the state of California. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And he fixed your back problems.
And I was going to say, I was healed by a fucking pedophile. He fixed my back.
Dude,
for the most part.
So funny. I've got pretty strict moral standards in terms of like, I don't want to hang out with racists. I don't want to hang out with crazy people. When it comes to doctors and nail techs, sometimes you got to suck it up. Sometimes it's like, all right, this person loves RFK Jr., but they healed my hormonal imbalance, which recently happened. I had terrible hormonal acne for the first time in my life. I went to this lady who was full RFK Jr., homeopath, worse than homeopathic. Here's fancy oxygen that's gonna fix you or whatever the fuck. She fucking fixed my hormonal acne. She was a god from heaven. She just fixed my whole shit. And sometimes you just gotta let it go.
I mean, he's still my podiatrist to this day.
Wow, it's still.
No, I'm just kidding.
He's a pedophile.
I'm joking.
Podiatrist. Sometimes you gotta let it go when your doctor's a pedophile.
As long as he's doing his job well. I never returned, but I was just I can't even believe he's allowed to. I guess that's why he moved. But you can just show up
Doctors, like, there's fucked shit that happens with doctors because when they're in a hospital, say, and they do like a malpractice thing and they get fired, right? The hospital then either has to report that there was a malpractice issue at their hospital, which will get them less funding from the government potentially, or the guy just quits and goes somewhere else, which is more often what happens. So you'll get these doctors who did a horrific thing in another hospital working at another hospital, and nobody knows they did the horrific thing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I was like his first patient. I mean, the place felt empty. It was like, what is going on here? It was
Sounds
very
like a
strange.
good doctor.
I mean, it's not that hard to get somebody a pair of orthotics. I don't want to give this guy too much credit. It's not like he did brain surgery on me or something. How fucked up is that?
That is so fucked up. I mean, for a long time, I had a nail tech who was straight up racist at me, and I was like, you know what? You do nails so well, and like your prices are so fair. Like I went to her for like 2 years.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like people don't have to be perfect. I do think it is. I mean, this guy is a pedophile, and he's a foot doctor. The kind of doctor that a person chooses to be.
It kind of freaks you out, right? A little bit.
I'm like, I'm gonna just spend my life dealing with people's feet. Or if you're like a proctologist, I know there's money in it, which I guess is why people do it. But it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna.
There's money in lots of kinds of doctors, though, right? Like, be a pediatrician or something. I mean, not as a pedophile, but like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why wasn't he a pediatrician?
I mean, you know, that would make a lot more sense, wouldn't it?
You missed your calling, but yeah, I don't know. The whole thing, it's like you know, all day long you're just dealing with people's assholes. Imagine that.
Like I don't like. I think also a lot about just like surgeons. Like to be a good surgeon. And, like, God fucking bless them. They save lives constantly. And, like, if I need one day, like, I'm gonna have to find the one who is, like, the most into cutting up bodies. These people love cutting up bodies, seeing the organs, moving them around, doing shit with them. Like, they enjoy it. That's their job. So, like, if I ever need surgery one day, I'm gonna have to find a fucking freak who loves cutting open alive bodies so much that he's a good surgeon. And that's it. And that's fucking weird as hell.
It really is. I mean,
it's so fucking weird.
I guess they want to fix people. I mean, there's like some sort of altruism in there, but it also is like, I think there's like, it's like an ego thing too. It's like almost like a fighter pilot or some super high pressure, like,
totally,
you know, people like that sort of performance pressure and being able to execute.
And being like, just like at the hospital, everyone's like, oh, he's like the surgeon. Like he's like the bigwig or she's the surgeon. Like it's probably like a high level respected job, you know?
It's not like he's the podiatrist. He makes orthotics.
That's my asshole doctor.
He has an obsidian coffee table in his waiting room.
This is doctors in Beverly Hills. Beautiful, beautiful lobby. He's my asshole doctor. He puts things up my asshole when I can't poop.
Just wait. You're not old enough yet, but just wait till you have to do your colonoscopy.
You know what? I hope it's like a beautiful waiting room with like a big obsidian thing on the coffee table.
I can tell you right now it won't be, because what you do is you do the prep at home where you have to just blast out your innards with laxatives.
Oh, you have to like
miserable. Fast. You have to take like a huge dose of laxatives to clean out your system. So you're up all night and you're just like, it's awful. And then,
do they put you down for like, do you go under for colonoscopy?
Yeah. And then you show up to like one of these like outpatient surgery facilities where you basically just walk in. There is a waiting room, but it's like antiseptic.
Right.
And then they bring you into a bed. You know, you're in your gown, you're in the bed. They're getting you ready for surgery. And then, or the procedure. It's not really surgery, I guess, but they knock you out.
Asshole, yeah.
They knock you out and roll you on your side, and you know, then you wake up and you go home.
Dude, it's not like the Twilight thing where it's like you're awake, you barely know what's going on.
No way. You have to be fully knocked out. It's like they use the propofol, right? That's what they use for all this stuff. But it's the shit that Michael Jackson overdosed on.
I see. See, if colonoscopies were a thing that mainly women needed to do, you wouldn't get shit. They'd be like, "Here's Tylenol, have fun."
Maybe, but I don't think they can physically do the procedure unless the person is totally unconscious, because you would clench up.
I mean, like, look, getting a UTI removed, it's kind of the same situation, and they don't give you shit for it. Like, you're clenching up all right. But then they got the fucking thing in there, speculum, just making sure you don't clench. It's really horrible.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I can't. I mean, and like these doctors who do this, these colonoscopies all day long. Like, what the fuck?
She's like, I'm a poop doctor. Like, what do you mean? Imagine being on a first date. Like, oh, I'm a doctor. What kind of doctor? I'm a butthole doctor.
I mean, I guess they're getting paid, but
Yeah,
it can't be like inspiring, right? You just got to be like, yeah, just gonna scope, like stick a camera up somebody else's butt and look for polyps. Like,
see what's going on up there.
Yeah, that's my life. It's my
like,
life's
it'd be
work.
so much more pleasant it'd be more pleasant to be a penis doctor. It absolutely would. No poop.
Yeah, no poop.
That's a big factor. No poop. So, well, now that we had our nice poop discussion, I hope no one is eating while they're listening to this. And if
we got feet covered, we got poop covered, colonoscopies. What else?
Yeah, might want to title this episode like "Don't Eat While You Listen." So our next story is sadly, it does not involve poop or colonoscopies or surgeries or camel bites. So the cast for Dancing with the Stars was announced today. I don't watch Dancing with the Stars really at all. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what it is. It's just celebrities dancing. And this year, one of the cast members is someone that we talked about like last week, Anna Delvey, famous scammer in New York City, Anna Delvey.
Right. We just this is like a follow-up because I think we were talking about her. She's the one who pretended to be like a rich socialite.
Exactly. And she just like tipped all of like the low-level wait staff or whatever and like didn't get caught forever.
And was like scamming like the rich people of like New York's like upper crust.
Yeah.
And then got caught and I want to say went to jail. And when we were talking last time, I think we were talking about her like at Rikers. Like we thought she was in jail. She's out of jail, clearly.
So she's not out of jail. Well, I think she's on house arrest right now. Like she just got out of Rikers, like very recently. And so on house arrest, they allowed her to have social media back because it was like, she was like, I'm not in control of my story anymore and I want to be or whatever. And the judge allowed her to have that. And I guess they also allowed her to sign up for Dancing with the Stars. Now, Dancing with the Stars will air when she's no longer on house arrest. Like she can do her Dancing with the Stars practices, like, because that'll happen when she's not on house arrest.
But wait. Just the fucking fact that this woman who is a criminal, and like I get, like it's sort of funny that she scammed these rich people.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for them.
But like, what the fuck is our culture? Like, this is our culture. Like,
this feels like the more healthy part of our culture. Like somebody who came from nowhere and nothing, walked into New York City, scammed her way to the top, just like real businessmen do, but they don't get caught. They just do shit with like more money. And so it's like, you know, they do crimes, whatever. Scammed her way into the upper crust and like got so much fucking money from them, humiliated them. Like that's a working class hero.
That is, in a way, but I feel like
working class folk hero. It's like
she's not a star. She's not a star. She's a criminal.
She's a natural born star, and that's how she became a criminal because she was so good at acting like a star and just being a star when she wasn't actually. I think she's now ready for it. You have to have like an attitude when you are that rich that like makes people trust that you have a ton of money and are very important. And she was so good at it that even people who were actually old money believed her. I think she's ready.
Yeah, you know, I went through a phase early in my adult life where I was thinking about writing a book. Like, I had this like fantasy about writing a novel about a con man, and I had this theory that really great con men like that, or like Anna Delvey, or you know who I was thinking of is Frank Abagnale, the guy that Catch Me If You Can.
Oh yeah. God, that's so good.
Because like the performance that you're giving, we talked about this when we talked about Anna Delvey, but it's like it's an extreme high wire act,
and it's like so bold that you're going against like every social convention that you've ever learned. Like I think about him going to college class and everyone making fun of him, and then him going out and pretending to be the teacher, and the teacher comes in and he's like, "Sorry, you're in the wrong class," and he like teaches it for months.
Yeah, just and like becomes a doctor, becomes like an airline pilot and shit, you know, like
it's insane.
It's truly insane. But the point I want to make is that if you're familiar with that movie, Catch Me If You Can, it was a Spielberg movie with Leo DiCaprio, and it's a good movie. And Christopher Walken was in it.
Christopher Walken,
incidentally. But like Abagnale ended up becoming a fraud expert for the FBI. Like
Mm-hmm.
he sort of, that was his like personal arc where he became a law enforcement guy. Like I wonder what Anna Delvey is going to do in her.
Nothing, because she didn't do anything that's useful to the government. She did something that's useful to potentially the working class for trying to get more money. You act like you're rich, you'll probably get money. But she didn't do anything that's actually useful to the government because she didn't trick the government. Like Frank Abagnale did trick the government. He made fake checks. He did all of this stuff that like they need to know how other people do it. Whereas Anna Delvey did something that's pretty actually simple. It was like just only she had the boldness of Frank Abagnale, but like didn't scam the government or scam airlines or do anything like that. She didn't want a job. She just wanted to be a socialite.
Yeah. And she pulled it off. So,
and that's why they put her in fucking Rikers and like didn't, give her a fucking job at the CIA. Cause like she's scamming the CIA people like in a way that isn't helpful.
How are they going to introduce her when they like, Dancing with the Stars episode 1 season, whatever it is?
Anna Delvey, probably like that.
And Anna Delvey, she committed fraud, and like,
it'll be like Anna Delvey is dancing the tango to Britney Spears. Oops, I did it again, and like that'll probably be it. My favorite part of this though is that in her promo picture, everyone has to take like a promo picture for Dancing with the Stars in their like little dancing outfit. She has an ankle monitor on because she is still under house arrest.
I mean, it really is like
iconic.
It's like it is iconic, but it's also like, man, this is where our culture is, and like people at home will be like, yeah, let's see if she can dance the cha-cha. Like
it's where our culture has always been. When was Grey Gardens made? That was like, look at these crazy rich people who are in a bad situation. Let's all laugh.
I mean, anything for eyeballs. But I don't feel like the culture was as noisy as it is now than like when Grey Gardens came out. Like.
Well, that was like there's more people now, and there wasn't social media, and it's
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like
but people saw it. People still talk about it to this day. I think it had a huge effect on the culture.
But it was easier to cut through, is the point, in that culture at that time. And so,
but they were now. That was like, of course, it was going to cut through.
Yeah, I mean, because it was so shocking. But today, if Grey Gardens got released, like. Maybe because it's just shocking, period. But like that's what people have to do. It's like Nicki Minaj has to beef with Megan Thee Stallion, and
I think that's a little different, but yeah.
But it's the same sort of thing. In order to cut through at this point, you almost have to do something like super obnoxious.
Like, I mean, yeah, you did just admit that you haven't like watched a movie in like 6 years though, so maybe
not a whole movie. I'll watch shit on Netflix. Fall asleep.
Yeah. See, what I do is I'll watch a movie, I'll fall asleep during like the main important part, and then the next day I'll be like, oh, I get to watch the main important part of that movie from last night. That's nice.
Yeah, I watch movies in pieces. I'll do like, this is how embarrassing it is for me. Like I'll spend like 8 nights watching one movie because I keep falling asleep like 10 minutes into it, and I'll just keep inching my way through. Like especially if I really want to see it. Like that was how I watched. They made this big deal in the press about Hitman, that Richard Linklater movie with Glenn Powell.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was fine.
That's what I thought. I was like, they made a big deal about this. This is like an okay movie. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was in the theater and I was like on a couple edibles, I'd laugh and have a good time in the theater. It's what Tyler and I call a nice time at the movies, but it's not really anything else.
No. But it took me like 8 nights to get through it. So.
Through that, like that movie is like so like not dense too. It is like the easiest to get through movie. Like it felt like 20 minutes, and then I was like, all right, I guess that's done.
I guess that. Yeah. Glad I just spent $17 to see.
Yeah, that. I mean, I would never do that. You can download movies illegally. Well, you can't because you're elderly. But
yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Downloading movies illegally.
I had no idea
that you could that was possible.
I mean, what, you can BitTorrent it? I've heard of that term.
Look, I don't do it. I've got a husband who does all of my tech for me, so he just showed me a website or a TV app, and it has a bunch of movies on it. I don't know how it works.
Damn. So what else is happening? I think we have a couple of like smaller stories that I wanted to cover.
So we've got a couple real like just quick ones here that like don't. So one of them is I didn't know about this. Brad, you made me aware of this, but apparently in Louisville, is that in Kentucky?
Yeah, Louisville.
And say it again.
The people from Kentucky say Louisville. That's you. That's
Louisville?
Not far from where I grew up. Louisville.
Like Louisville?
Kind of.
Like
yeah. It's not Louisville. It's Louisville.
Okay, so in Louisville, Kentucky,
There you go. There you go.
I guess there is a porch pooper on the loose, who is simply going onto many people's porches and taking a huge dump
In the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night. There's like, I can see like Ring camera pictures of him. Like,
oh my God, it's my former podiatrist. Just kidding.
Maybe he's a poop doctor now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's now a proctologist.
Well, so apparently he has also like chosen specific homes to poop on like several nights in a row.
I mean, does he have a motive? That's what I mean. He's got to be doing this to like revenge.
You think, but like the people who own the home say they don't recognize him at all.
Wow.
So like he's definitely got some kind of motive, but like what is it? Like,
or is it a fetish? He's like, oh, they have a Ring camera. You know, I want to be on. I want to be on camera.
I mean, like, could it be that this guy is maybe like a boss at a company somewhere, and like this guy got fired like in like a mass layoff or something, and the guy like doesn't really know who he is, but is getting his porch shot on nonetheless?
That would make the most sense.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of hoping in a weird, kind of twisted way that it's just like some random dude who just like...
Maybe he fucked the guy's wife, and that's why he can't say anything about it. Like, I don't know who that guy is.
Maybe.
I love just wildly conjecturing about shit like this.
I mean, and like the guy's like, the thing too is like, if you read this story online, the guy is on people's porches and they have these doorbell cameras and you can see his face
so clearly.
Yeah. It's not like he's not like he's wearing a ski mask and pooping on people's porch. He's just showing up and like just bearing it all. And
if you knew this guy, you would recognize him. Like, it's like, you can really see his whole fucking face. It's amazing they haven't caught him yet.
Yeah. It's like somebody's got to ID this guy.
Yeah, like there's got to be somebody. I mean, like, good for them for not snitching on the porch pooper, I guess, if they do.
Yeah, so like if it is random, like if it was just like out of the blue, just like totally random, imagine being the people
who were chosen.
Imagine like that would fuck with my head if somebody just kept coming to my house and pooping on my porch.
It's like like Lost Highway. Remember, it was like that they just kept putting videotapes on the person's porch, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know who the fuck this person is. They're just leaving videos of the whole movie.
I feel like the porch pooper is like a subplot in the novel about the 1,000-pound sister getting bit by a camel. Like, these things feel connected somehow. I feel
it almost feels like it could be like a side plot of White Noise or something, like the most photographed barn in the world, like the Louisville porch shitter.
And like he's been at large for months, you know. That would be funny. Like they just can't.
That would be good.
Figure out who the guy is. And,
like, what if he does it for years? What if for years he's just shitting on porches and no one knows who he is? What if he's in the witness protection program and doesn't have any friends?
What if he's a folk hero?
And like nobody can say, the government can't say who he is because he's in witness protection.
He's like an outlaw.
I mean, he's like, running from the law right now, like Thelma and Louise style, but just like as one guy.
I mean, it really is the kind of outlaw that our culture deserves in this moment. Like, it's not like we have like Bonnie and Clyde, like these hot, young, like rebels on the run. Like,
no, we got the Louisville porch shitter.
Yeah, we got some guy in Kentucky who's just like taking a dump on your porch.
That's where America is now, pretty much. Like, there's like the girl who scammed rich people out of money, folk hero, and then there's the Louisville porch shitter. Not a folk hero yet, but might become one depending on whose porch she's shitting on.
Yeah, so this feels like one of these novels. If we add the Anna Delvey subplot too, it feels like we've got to somehow bring together at the end, like in the third act of this novel, you have to bring together the 1,000-pound sister, the Louisville porch pooper, and Anna Delvey. I'm
trying to think like what author really feels like they'd write. Is it Don DeLillo? Is that like who I feel like would really write a book like that, where it's like the main plot is that there's a toxic cloud, but then also there's all these other fucking weird little things? Or like,
I feel like Don DeLillo's not comedic enough. I feel like he's a little bit too
pretty
serious.
Funny though. The most photographed barn in the world. Like, it's dry, but it's like pretty funny.
That's true. White Noise is funny and in like it's like kind of like deadpan way. But
yeah.
I feel like this story is like a little bit goofier. Maybe it's like,
I feel like it needs to be deadpan for it to work out though. Like otherwise it could just end up being like too much. Okay, there's too many hilarious things happening in this book. It's just like stupid vignettes. But if you did it like David Sedaris style, dry maybe, like if like in essays, like that could be good. But it should be fiction.
Maybe, I mean, I'm sure Don DeLillo is listening. I imagine he tunes in every week.
He's a big fan of mine, so you know.
He won't stop emailing me. It's crazy.
Yeah, he loves my poetry. He loves my tweets. He's always reading my tweets.
So if the Louisville porch pooper is out there listening, we salute you. Good luck.
We support you. Good luck. Don't let the fuzz catch you. You know,
what's the charge? What's the crime? Is it like trespassing?
Well, it would be trespassing for sure. Would it be vandalism?
Yeah, maybe that's what it would be.
But then also, would it be like you get someone really sick with shitting on their porch? Is that like something you could press charges for? Like chemical warfare?
How do you clean it up? What do you do?
How do you clean it up?
You get a hose? I guess you get a hose and just like hose it out into the yard.
But then it's like you have poop all over your yard, right? You're kind of just like spreading the poop by doing that.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm a dog owner. You're a dog owner.
You pick it up with a bag, right? That's what you have to do.
You're going to pick up a human log off your porch?
I mean, I'm not going to make a man in my house do it, but like...
I'm not touching that. Even with a bag on my hand, I'm not touching it. I can't do that. I can't even pick up other people's dog shit without feeling grossed out. It's got to be my dog.
Yeah, same. It's fucking disgusting. But it's also like, okay, there's a dead rat in the house. Someone's got to put the dead rat outside. It's like kind of that situation.
Maybe you get like a shovel. It's like a shovel.
Yeah, a shovel. Yeah, a shovel's a good idea, actually. That'll do it. That's better than the bag. Brad's freaked out. Brad's like, don't shit on my porch. I'm begging you guys. I'm going to shit on your porch tonight. After 9:30 when you're all asleep, I'm just going to come shit on your porch. I hope you have a Ring camera.
The fact that this guy can poop so freely is also interesting to me. I don't think I could poop on somebody's porch.
I mean, maybe he waits until he really has to go. Like maybe he's like living across the street and just sitting there, like just like, okay, I gotta go. Okay, I really have to go. Run across the street, porch shit.
Well, my wife sent me this funny like link the other day.
I thought you were gonna say my wife shit on the porch the other day.
She did. That's how we met. She shat on my porch. But she sent me this. Because I always make fun of her that like when we travel, I'm like, you can't poop when we travel, like at all.
It's such a problem. It's such a problem.
There's a German word for it, and I think it's called like Homescheiße. Like if you're a Homescheiße, that means you can only poop in your own house.
German's such a fucking fake ass language. What the fuck?
It's like I'm gonna fuck it up. I don't know the exact. It's like Homescheiße means that.
That's so funny.
But I'm glad there's a word for it.
Like,
yeah, I feel like a lot of people are Homescheißes, and it's like.
I'm a Homescheiße for sure. I've got like, I mean, unless I've got like a really private bathroom and like time, like if I'm like staying in a hotel room with someone, even like my husband, I'll get, I don't know, my body's just like, nope, staying up there.
Yeah, not happening.
Not happening.
You have to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend I'm thinking of. I'm not going to name him because I don't want to embarrass him.
Name it.
No one would know anyway. But like, he could poop anywhere.
It's wild when people can do that. When they're just like at a party, they're like, I have to poop.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Like, how the fuck? Like, I can only under the right circumstances can I do that in my own home. Like, it's like I'm like I don't have a problem with it, but like I like have some dignity.
Yes, exactly. Like he's like, oh, I'm at Chipotle. Hang on, I gotta go poop, and like you're just like, oh.
In a public bathroom? Like, I don't think I've ever pooped in a public bathroom. That's wild. Like,
I mean, unless it's an absolute emergency. Like, but
right.
even then, like.
Yeah, even then, it's kind of like I'm gonna run home or something like that. I mean, like that's bad. I mean, it's a constant plot point in Real Housewives that every time they go on vacation, some of them get diarrhea and some of them get constipated, and it's like you never know what it's gonna be exactly.
The whole thing makes me get grumpy. It's like, ugh, I don't want to travel and not be able to poop. It's like, you got to figure out you have to have a routine.
Yeah. Being in the desert recently, I realized something about myself, which is that it doesn't matter where I am, if I'm on vacation or in my own home, honestly, but like on vacation, what I want to do is take a bath, put on a nice bathrobe, watch reality television or movies in the hotel room, like order room service or get like a charcuterie board and just fucking eat it all night long, get really stoned. If there's like a beach or a pool, yeah, check that out. That's like what I want to do on vacation all the time.
That's it.
That's it. I love being in a hotel with the AC cranked up, watching some movie, like with my little weed pen in the bathrobe, taking a bath. Like I will just
Wait. I'm red flagging something. You will take a bath at a hotel. You'll sit in the tub where
do
other
you not?
strange. No. Because people,
What?
who knows who's been in that fucking tub?
Okay, I've got a good friend who works at a hotel, and they bleach that shit after every guest.
I can't trust. I don't trust. Maybe some hotels do, but like,
Are you one of those people who like go to a hotel with like Clorox wipes and you wipe off everything that you touch?
yes. And I got to say too, like as I get older, like I just think that the service economy, they're underpaid,
True.
generally speaking. These people who are charged with these jobs have no incentive to do the job well because they don't get paid well. They don't have benefits. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm cleaning up this filth. Like they'll do the bare minimum.
Yeah, they're treated
So
terribly as
yeah,
employees. Like you know what I do is as soon as I get there when they're doing the first cleaning service, I leave $40 on the bed. Then I can trust them. And then they're always nice to me and they're always bringing me towels and they're always like, being good because nobody else fucking tips them.
yeah.
Like, nobody fucking tips them.
It's smart to do it on the front end. I always leave the money on the pillow as I'm checking out. But I
Yeah.
want to go in there and like as I'm renting the room, just be like,
Yes.
let me go find the cleaning service. I'm going to tip them now.
You go Anna Delvey style, tip everybody. I like go to the front when they give you the key, tip them because then they will be sure to like bring you blankets up in time and stuff like that. When you go get your room cleaned, you put the thing out that says like clean my room, you tip them. Somebody brings you food from, room service, you tip them. It makes the whole hotel experience much nicer and you feel like I'll get like guilty about somebody cleaning up my mess, like I don't like love that and giving them like a little more money. I still feel weird about it, but it makes me feel like a little better. And like they appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Like I just think I also got to say that going to a hotel, this isn't like I was beginning to say as I get older, I have less interest in going out to eat and less interest in staying in hotels.
I have less interest in travel. I like a hotel. Traveling, unless I'm going somewhere really cool, I'm kind of like, I don't care that much.
I care less than I used to, and I'm just like I feel grossed out. I'm like this food, this plate, like there's somebody back there who just is, not. Maybe you get lucky and somebody really cares about the preparation of the food, but I'm like, how clean is that kitchen? What's going on back there? I can't see it.
It's funny that you're like that because for me, I feel like I got over like almost all of like my like feelings of being like grossed out or like being like, oh, that's yucky or whatever, because like I would be nannying and kids would just be puking on me and they'd be shitting and there would be fucking spit on the toys. I'm trying to clean it up as I go, but it's kind of all over. I like get like not squeamish at all. Like if someone's puking, if someone's bleeding, like it doesn't affect me. If there's a bug that needs to be crushed, I'll crush it with my bare hands. Like I hate rodents. That's the one thing where I'm like, if there's a rodent, I will move to a different country. I'm out. If there's a big ass spider on the wall, crush it. If there's vomit on me, that sucks. Like, I don't know.
I want to just
a little dirty,
I think now is a good time to make note of the fact that this all began with what was supposed to be a quick mention of the Louisville porch pooper. We've now spiraled into
like half of this episode is us complaining about how people aren't clean enough.
That's right. Which is right in my wheelhouse because I love cleanliness and order. But
yeah, I like I'm looking around my room right now and like there's a lot of like art stuff, craft stuff, like fucking paints and yarn and stuff, kind of like all over the place. But they're in the spot they're supposed to be. They're in their drawers and their little boxes, and there's no like food. That's what freaks me out. I don't like the food, like anything that like will bring bugs. Like, no, I'm like girl messy. It's different.
That's different. Yeah, I kind of agree. Anything that's going to smell.
Yeah. Yes.
So what, I think we have also like one obligatory Hawk Tuah mention. I just flagged this because I thought it was funny. She got a podcast, like she got a podcast deal.
But here's the thing. Brad has some kind of like Hawk Tuah disease. Like he feels like he's her dad or something like that. He's like, this is like one of my children. And so I'm going to discuss her. We are going to have like a Hawk Tuah theme song soon for like every time that Brad has to talk about Hawk Tuah.
Yeah, the reason I flag it is because the name of her podcast made me laugh. It's called Talk to Her. That's pretty clever.
That's pretty good. That's very clever.
So you can tune in. I know I'll be listening to.
Mm-hmm.
I actually won't be listening.
You know, wait for the talk to Brad and Mira for the culture crossover episode. You know, it's going to be wild. Biggest crossover event of the decade.
That will be the singularity right there. That's what we're waiting for. Is when
Exactly.
Talk to and what is ours called? Brad and Mira for the culture.
What is my podcast called that I'm currently recording? Dude, she signed with Jake Paul's fucking podcast company.
She's crushing it.
Jake Paul has a fucking podcast company? Who the fuck is this motherfucker?
Dude, everybody has a podcast company.
But he's like a fucking like boxer / YouTuber. I don't need to. That's none of my business. I don't need to know about Jake Paul.
I don't even know who he is, but
he's like some. I don't fucking know.
All right. Well, it's time for Brad Learns.
Brad Learns. Imagine there's like letters over my head like Brad Learns.
So here's what I want to know about. I got fixated on this yesterday. It made me angry. I got grumpy in a way that I'm not necessarily proud of. It's like I tweeted about it and I was like pissed off, and it was sort of like a mean tweet because I was kind of making fun of people who wear watches.
Angry are so funny and random and strange. It's not like, oh, this person like, you know, called my wife a bitch or something. Not that anyone ever would, but it's like, you know, I'm furious that people are wearing watches. What the fuck is up with that?
Well, I read this story about this player on the San Francisco 49ers football team who got shot in San Francisco, like right off of Union Square this past weekend. He got shot in the chest. He somehow is like fine. Like the bullet went through his chest, but like did not hit any organs.
That's insane.
Crazy. So very lucky to be alive, and you know, obviously it's a happy story that he isn't seriously hurt or anything. But he was assaulted by like a 17-year-old kid who wanted his wristwatch. It was a robbery attempt, and then they had a fight over the gun, and the gun went off. I think they both got shot. Like, nobody died, but
holy fuck! It was like a what kind of
like a Rolex. And this is like an NFL player. This watch is probably like at least $10,000. Who knows how much this fucking watch costs? But like,
I mean, a Rolex might be more. Like
more, dude. Who knows? You know, I'm not somebody who sits around thinking about this. But like, I, you know, read this story and was like, wait a minute, why does anybody wear a watch in the age of cell phones? There's absolutely no practical reason for needing a timepiece on your watch. You've got a phone in your pocket. You can look at it anytime you want to and know what time it is.
Or you have an Apple Watch if you want to be dumb and do that. But
yeah, or you know, if you're some sort of like endurance athlete and you're trying to track your know, fine. And I will say too, if you just like watches and the aesthetics of a watch on your wrist as like I guess like fine. I'm not trying to.
That's what it is though. It's jewelry for boys. Like it's jewelry. It's not even about the time. It's about being able to be like, oh, what time is it? Oh, I wonder. Let's see. Let's look and see what time it is at my wrist. Isn't that cool? Like it's like that.
But the thing that really kind of like rankled me was thinking about how, because there is a whole culture or subculture of super rich people who love their fancy watches. So Rolex, like Patek Philippe, like all this fucking shit. You know, there's these companies that make these like ultra expensive wristwatches. And the only people who would even know that a watch costs $75,000 is another rich person.
That's right.
And so you have this whole subculture of rich people who are needlessly wearing these fucking wristwatches just so that they can signal to other people that they are rich enough to afford this thing. And it makes me want to puke. And
you're right that it's like people who are like normal people aren't going to look at that and be like, I know how much that watch costs, or like even I'm impressed by that watch. It's to impress other rich people.
That's it. And the other thing is that you might as well just like literally like paint a bullseye on your forehead. You wear one of these watches out in public, you're asking to be robbed. Like there's no need for it. And you got in public and like you got $75,000 hanging off your wrist. Somebody's going to probably be like, hey, you know, like let's track this guy.
Walking around alone. Like I understand like I mean, I don't understand. I think it's really profoundly stupid, but like, you know, being in like at work or in a meeting with other rich people or at a dinner with other rich people or something, you have this watch to show like, I'm one of you, or actually I'm richer than you, or I'm like a little poorer than you, but still rich. Like, it's a way to indicate to other rich people what level, because there's like hierarchies among rich people. You have like a billionaire. It's way, way, way above like even like a fucking hundreds millionaire. Like someone who has $600 million is way below somebody who has 1 billion. And that is like a hierarchy within wealthy people onto themselves. And like, I think these wristwatches show, where do you place in the hierarchy? Do you have a billionaire watch? Do you have a millionaire watch? Yeah. Like, which one is it?
Well,
and
it's like
not alone with that seems just straight stupid.
It's so weird and it's so sad. And like I was thinking about it too in the context of like the art market, because it's like, yeah, you can wear jewels. Like if you have like some diamond necklace, or I don't know what guys would wear, but you know, some guys, rappers or athletes will wear. Yeah, they'll wear this like really ostentatious jewelry that is obviously a wealth signifier. But I don't know. I guess if it's really big, you can go, oh, this person's got enough money to afford this gigantic diamond.
Yeah.
And that could be, you know, an item that performs the same function. But there's a brand name to a watch. There's also like a level of cultural knowledge. Like it's like if you know what a Patek Philippe looks like and you can just spot it and be like, oh,
yeah.
That's sort of like being like somebody who's like really knows wine or really knows like
totally
the art market and can like
cigars or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So it's like, it just makes me realize like, oh my God, like I think that high-end wristwatches are the number one most common like code, like nonverbal code for your status, your wealth status among
like
the wealthy.
One that other people who aren't wealthy don't necessarily understand, and that's purposeful too.
Yeah, it's like
you're like so low you don't even get what I'm wearing. That's like the lowest level of the totem pole.
you peasants who don't know that I spent $50,000 on a watch. Like,
and it's like, even if you're wearing like just like sweats, the way the famous people often do, if you have that watch, they'll know that like you're just rich enough to wear sweats in public and not care.
That's right. They go out looking like shit, especially in LA. It's like, whatever, I can dress down, but they've got like the watch on.
Yeah.
Just to like silently communicate to other rich people that they're like in the club.
I've got a friend who like at a certain point in her career like ended up getting a good amount of money and just being in like a lot of meetings with like very rich like white guys or whatever, and noticed they all are wearing fucking Rolexes. She bought herself a Rolex and like they respect her 20 times more than they did before. Like it's like a different thing. They're like, oh, we didn't realize you were like part of the rich people's club. Like, sorry, we were treating you like a peasant. Our bad. Like, insane. Like, it is really, truly a wealth signifier in like the craziest way.
And there's no functional need for it. You can just look at your phone. It's just.
And I mean, as somebody who personally loves wearing ostentatious jewelry, not expensive jewelry, but like I'll wear crazy shit. It just feels to me like, why spend your money on something that everybody else like has? You know, like if I had that kind of money, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get like a custom gold watch that is like cool and different than everybody else's and has like a weird, unique design. Like, but instead they're buying these like you're saying, like brands that are recognizably signifiers. And it just shows there's no creativity put into the way they're dressing. It's just signifiers.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with cars too. I guess there's lots of, people drive a certain kind of car to
totally
let people know who they are. I just think that's
my car has roll down windows, so it does let everyone know who I am, which is poor.
I mean, just to get shot over a watch that you don't even need to be wearing. Like if he didn't have that watch on, he doesn't get shot.
And like, why was he just walking around in public alone with that watch on? It's like, wear it to an event, sure, but like you're just like,
he was going to an autograph signing, so I guess that's an event. And like, just because somebody's wearing one of these like extremely expensive watches,
there? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I'm not suggesting that they deserve to get shot, but it's like, just like, dude, maybe that's a lesson. It's
like as a girl, I think, and men do too, but like as a girl, at least my mother and most people will teach you street smarts, hopefully. And the idea in the street smarts being like, don't have your purse wide open on the subway with like your wallet and your fucking phone there. Don't like If somebody's trying to harass you on the street, don't make eye contact. Also, maybe if you have like a gigantic diamond wedding ring, put it in your purse until you get to the restaurant. Like, it's just like, it's like a safety thing that's unfortunate, and it's never anybody's fault that they got robbed, but it does seem like, you know, common sense kind of.
I mean, yeah, you're at least raising the risk.
Mm-hmm.
If you're walking around with like a gaudy, like,
It's got to be like somebody who's just like, I'm invincible. Like, nothing bad's ever happened to me. This is fine.
Well, we should say this guy's like 21 years old, and he's like a superstar athlete. So yeah,
it checks out.
It checks out.
It really checks out for sure. Like, he just probably spent one of his first checks on like this fancy watch and loves it. And I mean, this is why rich people, like, if they have like a really expensive engagement ring, get replicas made of the engagement ring and put the engagement ring in a safe and only wear the replica.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that so fucking weird? It's like, just buy the replica.
Yeah. Or just, you know, or keep it simple. Like,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad I learned about that. I guess I just needed to get it off my chest. People need to stop wearing watches. It's over. Let it go.
We should have a Brad angry segment where you just talk about what made you angry this week. I was at the farmer's market, and this lady, she took all the Tangelos, and it was just, I fucking hated it.
No, it's the lady who brings her fucking dog.
Even
though there's no dogs allowed signs. We've been over this. But.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But there'll be like another weird little thing where you're like, I hate when people like, I don't know, spit on the sidewalk, or I actually really do hate that. That makes me fucking sick.
I'll try to keep notes of what pisses me off. But,
yeah. Every time you're mad, just send me a text. I'll keep it in a list.
All right, Mira. Well, it's good to talk with you as always. I'm glad you're over your heat stroke and that you didn't die.
I did not die. Once again, I lived, bitch.